Good afternoon. Welcome to Trail Talk. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are live at the Chisholm Trail Heritage Center in Duncan, Oklahoma. And our very special guest today is Miss Mary Kay Lentz, who is representing the Daughters of the American Revolution today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Well, I kind of feel like I when you guys were here, was that just last week?
Yes.
The days are flying by. I thought, this is when we were first talking about your meeting here, I thought, why haven't I had this group on Trail Talk before? Because the Daughters of the American Revolution has always been just a really a respected organization to me. I have always just kind of been grateful for the things that you guys do within the community and what that you promote, the patriotism and all of those things, and I love it. I sat outside the meeting. I couldn't hear anything, but I just loved the attention and the I could tell that there's a certain order of the way things go at a meeting. And I just thought, I love that this has been going on for so long. I don't know how long ago D.A.R. started.
The National Society was founded in 1890.
I mean, well over 100 years now,
Yes.
and going on 150. And that these meetings they probably very much resemble the ones you have today, very much resemble the meetings from the very beginning. And that is just, I just love it that is continuing on.
True.
But before we jump into D.A.R., I was wondering about you. Are you from this area?
Not originally. I was born in Frederick.
Okay.
And then my family moved. So my dad could be superintendent at Empire School.
Okay.
And I was going into the 7th grade. Then after high school, I graduated from Empire. I attended Oklahoma State University and then came back to Duncan, got married. I taught at Empire for 42 years.
Oh my goodness.
So,
I think the first time we met, you were still teaching.
yes.
Back then. That's been a while, probably 2005,
Probably.
whenever we first spoke. So, well, thank you for committing your life to education, because we believe that that's a very important part of the lives of children. What did you teach?
I taught 2nd grade, 3rd grade. I even taught in middle school.
Oh,
And I also was librarian for a while.
wow. So you just did a little bit of everything. We have a lot of 2nd and 3rd graders who come here to visit us at the museum. So it is very fun. We had a group of 3rd graders here today. So yeah, we really
They are enjoyable.
very much. And so you taught, you moved here, stayed here in this area.
Yes.
And so at what point did you become interested in the Daughters of the American Revolution? Henceforth will be referred to as D.A.R.
Yes.
Shortening that right now.
Right. Thank you.
Yes. Was your family, did you have family who were a part of the organization?
I did. I had a grandmother and my mother were both D.A.R. members. My grandmother belonged to the Lawton chapter, and my mother was a regent in our Duncan chapter.
Oh, okay.
So they instilled in me the desire to want to learn more about American history and to promote it, which I think is something that is really needed at this time. And also to help educate the students more about the facts of the revolution and what led up to it. And then the service part of the organization. We are a nonprofit organization,
Mhm.
and so we try to have projects that will benefit the community and also the veterans who
Oh,
may need
okay.
assistance and the military members,
Active
the
military.
active military.
Wow, I know I did not realize all of those things. So where does your funding come from as a 501c3?
A lot of it is donations from the members.
Okay.
Some members will leave their estate to D.A.R.
Okay.
And that has helped tremendously.
Mhm.
D.A.R. is a lot more popular on the East Coast, but that's where
Wow.
the
Where the revolution took
yes,
place.
yes.
And my husband and I just went to Boston
Oh,
a couple
wow.
of months ago. And boy, I mean, it is just everywhere, which was
Yes.
great. We love all of the history, the Freedom Trail, you know,
Mhm.
and all of that. But I can see where that would be beneficial to engaging and maintaining
Yes.
larger troops.
That would help.
Mhm.
But we also can recognize historical events in our area and do things to commemorate those
Even though
projects.
they weren't part of the American
Yes,
Revolution.
yes.
Okay, so when your grandmother, I mean, maybe you know this, when your grandmother joined, did she know the ancestry?
The line.
Uh-huh.
I believe that we had an earlier ancestor trace it. And then once you find a connection to that person, you can kind of jump on to their work and continue as long as you have the proof for the generations that you need.
Right, and I should explain, so to be a member of the Daughters of the American Revolution, there needs to be a bloodline that
Yes,
connects a relative
to,
to the American Revolution.
that's correct.
And does that mean a person who participated in the revolution or just was here during that time?
Let me check my notes.
Yes,
and
yes, because I
give
think this
you
is I think
the,
this would be interesting.
But now, the National Society says that membership is open to any woman 18 years of age or older, regardless of race, religion, or ethnic background, who can prove lineal descent from a patriot of the American Revolution. And the time period of service, searching for a patriot, their service should be between 1775 and 1783. The Constitution was signed in 1783.
Okay, so there's just that 8-year
Yes.
time period that they're looking at. And when it says patriot, does that mean a man?
Oh, no, D.A.R. defines a patriot as a man or woman who, with unfailing loyalty to the cause of American independence, served as a sailor, a soldier, or civil officer in one of the several colonies, or is recognized as a patriot, such as Lafayette, who came
Right,
from
France.
France. He could be included.
Okay.
Or as long as they rendered material aid, say that a farmer provided cattle for the soldiers,
Right.
that would count.
So this kind of I learned about some of these things in Boston, but I had also been doing some research about Native Americans fighting
Yes.
for
Yes.
the US.
That,
And I found a lot of information about the Revolutionary War and Native American people who were on the side of the Patriots.
that's true.
And so despite the fact they would not have been in the military per se, they did help.
Yes, and if that could be proved, that would be acceptable.
Interesting,
And then there were some Black,
right?
too.
Uh-huh.
And they have, the National Society has a new initiative. They are working really hard to find records of the minority groups and to make them available. On the national website, there is a genealogy section, and they have the proven patriots listed, and sometimes you can select one of the names and you are able to see some of the descendants from it. So it's very helpful in tracing
Oh, I bet that
the
is.
genealogy.
And I'm guessing because of the lack of record keeping, that some ethnic groups might have a more difficult time
That's
tracing
true.
that lineage.
It will be difficult for some.
But I mean, the possibility is
Yes,
there.
the possibility is
But
still there.
in history, there are people named, Native American people who are named.
Yes.
There was a woman whose husband, wasn't this in the Revolutionary War, Mary, or was it the Civil War? Where her husband, I think it was Revolutionary War, he got shot in the hand. And so she stood next to him and loaded his gun for him, so he could continue fighting.
That's true.
Yeah, so I mean, all of those stories are just, I love to hear them. I feel like they're inspiring, but they're also it's just wonderful to look back and think of the many people who devoted themselves to this country becoming a country.
Yes.
And so that is awesome. So beside you mentioned on the website, typing in, you could select a name and maybe trace down, find a relative. How much assistance does D.A.R. provide for someone, or do you need to have, like, if I wanted to find out and I don't have any lineage that I can trace back very far, maybe I can only go to the Civil War or something like that. Does D.A.R. have helps to take it further?
Yes, we do. We have some members in our own chapter who have worked enough with their own genealogy that they have discovered ways to do the tracings. But we also have at the state level volunteer genealogists. And if we get stuck helping someone locally, we can send their information to one of the state recognized volunteer genealogists. And they are very good at searching for things.
And is there a fee for that?
No,
When people know?
no, there is not.
Wow, that is incredible, because a lot of the time that people, you have to pay to
Yes.
search those sites.
Well, I can remember my mother, and also she had a sister who lived in Stillwater who was very active in D.A.R. And the two of them sent letters to different states, requests, because at the time there was no internet service.
Right.
So they had to find someone in a state that advertised they would help with genealogy work, and then you had to pay them. But if you needed a copy from a courthouse, a birth certificate or something, they would go to the courthouse and find it and
Oh,
send it.
and the legwork, that was a
Yes.
real thing in those
Yes,
days.
it was. And
Yeah.
we have had some members actually travel to the state where they were needing more information so that they could actually make sure they have what they needed.
Mhm. Wow, that is,
Mhm.
I mean, that in and of itself piques my
Yes,
interest, you
yes.
know, to know more about that. So, you mentioned, service and, you know, the making sure children, young people know the history
Yes.
surrounding the Revolutionary War, that sort of thing. So how does D.A.R. Make sure those things are taking place?
Well, first of all, the American History Essay Contests held
Mhm.
some chapters, and we had some members who would do this. They ask to visit a classroom and will do a little presentation on some subject that they might be studying.
Mhm.
The Constitution is a favorite subject.
Mhm.
We have a display right now at the public library about the Constitution.
Oh,
And I know some chapters will fix up what they call a Constitution kit with information about the Constitution. There are pocket constitutions available
mhm.
and coloring sheets and crossword puzzles and things that they
Right.
will give to classrooms when they are studying the
How nice, just that
Constitution.
exposure,
Mhm.
you know, year after
Yes.
year, just a little, here's a little,
Yes.
at an
Mhm.
age appropriate
Mhm.
bit of information. I really love that. You mentioned the, what'd you call the essay competition?
American history.
American history. And, we were talking before we went live. My kids always participated at least at the 5th grade level. And, what a great jumping off point that is if you want your children to have an experience writing an essay, because it's 500 words, which I can assure you later on in life, 500 words is nothing. It is like, it's so easy to get 500 words. But to have a really broad historical topic, and when I say broad, it's like I can recall the first one was about Lewis and Clark and the Corps of Discovery, and that there were so many different
Yes.
ways that could be approached.
Mhm.
And I guess there's a 5th grade. Is there?
5th through 8th
5th
will
through
have the
8th,
same
okay.
topic.
Okay.
And now 9th through 12th grade, their topic is to select a patriot of their choosing and to tell about his life and participation in the revolution.
I bet those are
So
really good. I bet they are some interesting, very interesting
And I wouldn't
essays.
want to be a judge on that
Oh.
and try to judge one patriot against another.
Right.
But we look for historical accuracy in the essays, so that's the main
Right,
thing.
right. That, and we had this experience, and I'm just sharing this because it was, just to give give people an idea. One of our children was actually, she went to the state competition twice from here. Two of her essays made it. And, what a great, reception and meeting. And, it seems like they read their essays.
We, at our chapter.
Your chapter,
yes,
okay,
we have
locally, they
read
read their essays, which is so fun to hear these young people reading their essays, but then they go to the state and they have a chance to meet other people their age. and they sit together. It makes them feel really
Yes.
special. And for a 5th through 8th grader, these adult women
Mhm.
are just so gracious to them. It was just such a
It's-
lovely experience.
Working with children is really the highlight of our programs,
Mhm.
I think.
Mhm. And so the essay competition, has it already been out, or does it starts in January?
No, we have sent out the information to the schools. And Darby LaFontaine at the public library has the information for the homeschoolers.
Oh, good.
Or they could contact me and I could see that they would get it.
Mhm.
The essays are due, I think it's December the 11th,
Okay.
something like that,
Okay, and then they're announced
in February.
in February.
Mhm.
Okay, that's where I was getting
Yes.
mixed up. Yeah,
Yes,
they
that's
they
right.
write them, turn them in, and then they find out in February.
Uh-huh.
So that is how do you have much participation here? It was always kind of hit and miss, I felt like.
It is getting really difficult to get essays because once the State Department required teachers to go by the past objectives and the standards, it forced the teachers to stay in that little niche of work. And sometimes the subject of the essay might not fit what they are teaching
Right.
at the time. And some of the teachers feel there's such little time to cover everything that's required that they shy away from it.
Setting aside time to write an
Yes.
essay and research and all of that in
Yes.
class, that could be some time consuming.
True.
Yeah, I can see that, which is so unfortunate. These are the
It
kinds
is.
of things that take education to the next level.
Yes.
I mean, they
true.
really do.
That's true.
They really do. But I mean, the presentations that you guys do in a classroom, that seems like that would be a great way to enrich a child's experience in learning about
We hope
that.
so.
Mhm.
We do. Anything, even just reading about a short biography of a patriot
Right.
would be helpful
Mhm.
too.
Mhm. Right, anything to bring that, just that extra understanding. I feel like those enrichment kinds of things help bring that understanding to life a
Yes,
little bit
that's
more.
true.
So what about like your membership? Is that also difficult to keep an interest?
It
in
is
that?
becoming more difficult. When I joined in 1978 here at Duncan, we had 105 members.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
And 2 of them were charter members. They were still alive and came to the meetings.
Wow.
But now we have 31 members. We would love to have new members. We did get 2 new members this year.
Oh, wow, that's good.
So that does help.
Mhm.
We plan to have a workshop in the spring at probably the Duncan Public Library, where we will have a time period allotted that people can come and bring their research information, if they have any, or if they just want to come and ask questions about
Right.
D.A.R.
Uh-huh.
and what they need to do. We could get them started on that.
That seems like a very
So,
helpful.
hopefully we can
Nice.
do that. In Southwest Oklahoma, the only chapters now are our chapter and Lawton. And then going farther west, there is a chapter. It encompasses the Clinton area.
Okay.
I think it's for that part of the state.
Mhm. kind of a regional
Yes.
group.
Then there is a chapter at Blanchard and one at Ardmore. So, but we
Those are the only chapters
in this part of the
this part of the
state.
state. Okay.
Yes, Oklahoma has 44 chapters altogether. And there are several in the Oklahoma City area. And I know at least 2 of them have over 100 members.
Well, no, that's
So,
encouraging.
That is encouraging. But so many women work now, as
Right.
opposed to years ago, that it is difficult to try to be active in an organization and keep up with your children and work out away from the home.
Right.
So we understand that also.
Mhm.
We are trying to find ways to streamline our meetings to
Oh,
make them go a little faster, because the National Society requires certain things to be done, but they are allowing some of the longer items, such as every month, the national president, she's called the President General, she will publish a letter to the chapters, which had to be read in the past.
right.
But now we can send it through email.
Oh, that's.
So that is helpful.
Mhm, mhm. So, but those things I was mentioning earlier, those are happen at every meeting.
Yes, and they have from the
And
beginning.
that is, wow, those traditions, that's just a great, consistent,
Mhm.
part
Yes.
of that. But it would be, I mean, so many things can happen virtually now
Yes,
that,
that's true.
it's hard to say if that's a benefit for everything.
During COVID, a lot of chapters held Zoom meetings.
Right.
In Duncan, it does not work very well because so many of our members are older and they are not used to using the internet. And it was difficult for them to participate.
Mhm.
And we have such few members that
Right.
we really had a difficult time. But a lot of chapters had good luck with the Zoom meetings.
Well, good. So maybe it's a possibility
Yes,
then
that's true.
at some point.
Yes. True.
So, what you mentioned also, service projects.
Mhm.
How do you decide on what your service project is, and how do you participate? What does that look like?
Well, the National Society has over 30 committees devoted to service.
Wow.
So they encourage us to pick something from some of the committees. There is one on Americanism. For that, we assist the Duncan Area Literacy Council with their celebration for new citizens. We
Yes.
provide the refreshments for the reception. And that's a fun thing to attend.
Oh, boy.
Those people are so happy.
I have wanted to go to
Mhm.
one of those and just have not had a chance to make one.
But other committees, there is a committee for veterans and they provide suggestions. We have in the past taken donations to the Lawton Veterans Center. Sometimes they will publish a wish list. One thing that our chapter did for as far as historic preservation, in 1974, the Regent Ruth Ann Dunlap organized the placement of a stone monument in Duncan's Memorial Park on Highway 81 to recognize Initial Point and the Indian Base Line. A lot of people may not know Indian Base Line is just 2/10 south of the monument. And it kind of runs along Beach Road.
Yes, and that is one of the major
Yes.
lines they
Uh-huh.
used when they drew up
Yes,
for the land giveaways.
all of Oklahoma, except the Panhandle, was divided into townships, north and south, and ranges east and west of Initial Point. And Initial Point is in the Arbuckle Mountains.
Okay.
So,
When one of the educational programs, we have different topics through the year, and the last one of the school year is the land runs. And so we teach about all of that in here, and I always say the Baseline Road, it's still called Baseline Road in some communities.
yes,
And I say it's Beach Avenue here in Duncan, and it's not even a half a mile from where we are right
That's
now.
true.
You know, it's very
Yes.
close, and I think that's
Well,
a kind of a cool fun
that's
thing.
great.
Yeah.
That is a good.
I love it that was and so that was a more recent in history kind of thing that DAR was able to recognize.
Yes. So we are allowed to do that and recognize people from the area who made some type of benefit to their community.
Oh, okay.
So
So what is your, why have you stayed a member of DAR all this time? What is it about the organization that just really keeps you there?
part of the reason I stay is because I like to think of those who served before me and kept their dues going even in times of war when it was difficult, and the many hardships some of them went through to keep the chapter going. And then some of it is because I enjoy the historical aspects, and I'm always happy when we can do something to benefit the community or bring recognition to some commemorative event. When Gail Loafman was regent in 2002 to 2004, she purchased the Foreman Prairie House in Duncan. It had been put up for auction, and she couldn't bear to see it destroyed. So she directed the repairs and renovations for that. A lot of the D.A.R. members worked with her, and they were able to find ways to get some help and assistance, and they restored it to tried to restore it as much as possible to its original beauty. We received a preservation grant from the National Society for the Prairie House, and that helped tremendously. So now we volunteer to have it open for visitors on the third Saturday of the month.
So DAR,
We are still working.
really, that is great. The Foreman Prairie House is one of my favorite. I don't know, it's like a community gathering place.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
people, I've been to showers there. I've been to like a music show kind of thing that was there. It was just a intimate kind of place, but meetings there. The tours are lovely. The space is really nice for entertaining, and
Yes.
I love the way it has been kind of adopted by the community.
Yes.
and used for all of those things.
The foundation does a great job with that.
But I love it that DAR, that you guys were a part of that. Are there other things like that are a part of the community?
Probably nothing on that type of scale. I could tell you about some of the other projects we've had. At one time in the 1980s, we sponsored a Children of the American Revolution organization. And those are quite popular on the East Coast too. We tried for a while, but it became difficult to keep a number up. So we enjoyed that. We assisted the Safe Center in being selected for a $5,000 grant from the Oklahoma State D.A.R. Society. That was a project of State Regent Teresa Cales in 1921.
Oh, wow.
There are 5 districts for D.A.R. in Oklahoma, and her project was to give each district a $5,000 grant for a woman's shelter. So we were, happy that we could get that for Duncan.
Oh, right.
We also host the Wreaths Across America at the Marlow Cemetery, and that's in December. We lay 7 wreaths of remembrance for each branch of military service, and then 1 for the prisoners of war and missing in action.
Oh. Is that kind of done at a, I don't want to use the word ritual, but kind of
There is
format?
The Wreaths Across America Association does provide a format to use for the ceremony, and we try to find some veterans to assist with laying the wreaths so that they can also participate. It's really up to the chapter as far as, what else they would like to do with it.
Wow. So you guys kind of left your fingerprints in a lot of different areas of our community, the surrounding communities. I mean, my kids are all adults now, but I know that they were all affected by the opportunity to write an essay for that competition, just the research that they did, the things they learned, and I hope that D.A.R. is able to just perpetuate that, for years to come.
We do too, and we appreciate those who have cooperated with us and have taken part in those.
There's
projects.
also a high school history award.
Yes, we do give an award to two outstanding students of American history at Duncan High School at their awards assembly.
Is that D.A.R.? Is there a scholarship?
There are many scholarships available. The State Society has scholarships available, and then the National Society, of course, those being on a national level.
Right.
There's a lot more competition.
Right.
But we do have quite a few scholarships.
I can't remember if I'm thinking about this properly, but where students walk into a room and they're given the prompt.
Oh, the Good Citizen.
Okay, that's what that is.
Citizen, D.A.R. Good Citizen. We used to sponsor that. Duncan chose not to participate because they have the Crossman Award, and they said that was too much like the Crossman Award.
Right.
We used to open it to the county schools, and we didn't get much participation. I think partly it's difficult to have the person selected to come in to write the essay. They have to do it at school with someone in the same room
A
with
proctor
them.
there
Yes.
and all of that, right?
And so many students go to the Red River Tech Center.
Mhm.
It's hard to find a time that they can actually sit down and do that.
Yeah.
So it makes it a little bit more difficult.
Yeah.
I would like to see us get that going again, but.
Mhm. Well, I
uh,
mention these things
Yes.
because there's a variety of ways
Mhm.
for students to take advantage of all
That's
that
true.
DAR has to offer. And I
That's
just
true.
feel like that's important for people to realize.
Yes, you're right.
You know, you guys are not just a group of ladies who meet once a month
Mhm.
for coffee and cookies and,
Right.
you know, to chat. You have a purpose.
Yes.
Your
we do.
your organization has a purpose, and I believe that purpose has probably kept you going for so long.
Yes, it does.
You know,
Mhm.
I mean,
Yes.
it's just a long-standing organization, and I just think it's
Well, we hope
wonderful.
we are a benefit to people and to the students.
So if you were going to ask some or give someone some information, how would you encourage someone to find out more, or what would someone need to do to follow up on what they're seeing today?
They could go to the National D.A.R. website. It's simple DAR.org.
Oh, that is simple,
So-
y'all.
And there is quite a bit of information on that website. If they are not near a chapter, there are locators for them. They can select their state and then look for the chapters in the state. But
Is there contact information?
yes, and
with
then
that?
most of the chapters have a website connected to this locator,
Mm,
and there will be information if they will go to the chapter website.
mhm.
So, or, you know, they can contact me, any member of our DAR chapter, and we could give them information. They can, I believe they can print an application from the website. I might be wrong about that. Some of the website is public and some is members only,
Oh, okay.
but they can still gain a lot of information.
So if they couldn't print one off, where would they?
Oh, we'll
get one?
print it for them.
Oh, okay, okay.
And one of our officers is called registrar, and that is her job to make sure the applications have everything they need and they're in the format that the National Society will accept.
Mhm.
As far as the dates, they have a particular way they want the dates listed.
Okay.
And the registrar is much more knowledgeable about that type
Mhm.
of information, but she would work with someone to help them find what they need.
Right, right. So you guys are equipped and ready to help
Yes,
someone who would
we
like
are.
to find out if, first of all, their lineage connects them to the
Yes.
Revolutionary War in such a way that would allow them to be a member, and then to just become active in assisting one of our goals here at the Heritage Center is to educate and perpetuate the history and knowledge of the American West, you know, and the cowboy
Yes.
and all that
And
culture.
that's wonderful.
But I feel like DAR, it would be very similar
Mhm.
to educate and
That's
perpetuate the history of the Revolutionary War and everything that went along with that. And so
That's
you
true.
know, I'm educator to educator. I just feel like,
Yes.
you know, that's a worthy goal.
Yes.
And
it is.
definitely one that, I mean, I'm so glad that you guys are a part of our community and all the things that you offer to the students and the veterans and the community at large, really.
Thank you. We appreciate that. And we're happy to do those things. that's what we enjoy doing.
Right, I mean, you walk into joining the organization knowing service is a part of
Yes.
what you will be
True.
doing, so,
That's right.
yeah. Well, that's great. Well, is there anything else that you wanted to say while you were here?
We would just look forward to having anyone visit our meetings. We meet on the second Tuesday of the month, except for May, July, and August.
Okay.
And we try to publish the meeting dates
Mhm.
the week before the meeting
Mhm.
so that people will know about it. We try to have interesting speakers, so I think they would enjoy our meetings. And you have been such a wonderful guest speaker. We have always enjoyed your talks.
Well, thank you. It's very
So
fun.
we hope that we will see some people there.
Very good. I hope so too. So listen, if you're interested, DAR.org, we can connect you with Mary Kay, or and we just want to help you get connected with DAR if that's something that you're interested in. So don't hesitate reaching out to us here at the Heritage Center either. And thank you again for joining us. I just feel like this is a really informative trail talk.
Thank you. We appreciate having the opportunity.
Right. Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad it worked out. So when we sign off from Trail Talk, we always say happy trails together. So you ready?
Yes.
Okay, we'll see you guys next week. Happy trails.